now we're turning to Delese Mimi Darko. She is the CEO of Ghana FDA. And the question for her is, Ms. Darko, you have been on the agency side of benchmarking several times, and it can get lost in this discussion just how big an undertaking the process is for the agency. Can you explain more about what the benchmarking process means to the agency and your thoughts on donor incentives for such a process?
Hi, hang on, let me get my video working. Okay. Can you hear me?
We hear you clearly.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So for us as a regulatory agency, and especially one in a lower middle income country, benchmarking, we were very excited about benchmarking, and that it was basically a process to show that you are doing what you say you are doing. So as regulators, we can get very busy with what we're doing. We know our processes, we know our procedures, but we haven't actually documented what we're doing. And benchmarking actually showed us that for everything that benchmarking expects that you have a system in place and that that system is well documented. For us, it took us well over 6 months to prepare for benchmarking. And as an agency, we have been benchmarked probably in total, maybe about 6 times by different agencies. We've been benchmarked by, on the blood side by Paul Eric. We've been benchmarked twice for GBT. We have been benchmarked by WHO also quite a few times. So we thought we were very ready. But the global benchmarking tool is a little bit more involving. And so basically it took us 6 months to prepare. As regulators, we also then, even though we're being benchmarked in the 7 regulatory functions, it happens that we don't do all the functions by ourselves. So for example, if you're doing market surveillance, we do up to a certain point of the supply chain. So the regulatory authority, which is the FDA, would look at imports, would look at wholesalers and warehouses, but another agency looks at retail pharmacies. So you realize that along the supply chain for marketing authorization, when the benchmarking was being done, we had to rely on the efficiency of other regulatory bodies. So example, for clinical trials, we do authorization, but ethics committees, which are outside the regulatory agencies, they do give ethics approval. So the entire process does not only rely on us, but it relies on us working with other agencies. So I personally found myself running up and down to try and get MOUs in place. So even though we work with an ethics committee and we rely on approval, we didn't have a document in place that said we did. And you need to have documented. So there's a lot of running around. We work with agents. If we find anything on the market that needs to be safely disposed of, we'd have to work with the security agents. We didn't have MOUs. We are having to run around to get all those MOUs. Hello?
Yes,
Sorry.
No, you go.
Hello?
Yeah, we lost you a couple of minutes ago. So you can continue, please.
Okay. So at the end of all the efforts, it has helped us as an agency extremely well. It's helped us to put in place certain processes that we didn't have. So, for example, it's helped us to do what regulators should actually be doing, which is using a scientifically sort of risk-based analysis for our quality monitoring. So if we decided in a year or in 3 years what our strategy was for quality monitoring, why are we choosing certain products to monitor the quality of? So it taught us that for everything, you need to put in a risk-based approach to ensure that your resources are used properly. It also helped us to do that same risk-based approach for everything that we do, for even clinical trials. How do you decide to inspect a particular site? It has to be a risk-based approach. So it taught us to wisely use resources and to do it scientifically. So that was some of the good things that GBT has brought. Unfortunately, I know we're talking about both food and other products. So we regulate food and we regulate medical devices. And those systems have not been assessed. The food system is one of the most difficult that we have because for us over here, everybody is into food. So we look at both the local market and local producers as well as food. And so that is the system for us that has not been effectively regulated, but it's in the process. We also, one of the disadvantages or one of the challenges is that after we were benchmarked, there were systems that had to be put in place, and you need the resources to put them in place. The resources could be something as simple as staff. So, for example, in the pharmacovigilance department, we had a certain number of staff, but GBT said you don't have enough staff because you have a certain backlog. Now, for regulatory agencies who are usually in this part of the world not autonomous, to even employ staff such that you are thought of as being having enough staff is a challenge. We also needed resources to put certain things in place. So although GBT is good and GBT has actually benefited us a lot, it's improved our documentation. It's helped even to improve collaboration because all these other agencies that we have to collaborate with, it is now formalized. It has improved our work processes, but it has also WHO has assisted with our IDP by giving technical assistance, but we ourselves have to be able to put certain things in place to be able to make the maturity level 3. And for that, to be able to do or to be able to achieve that IDP and to be able to effect it or implement it, it requires funding. And when your funding is split among different product groups like food, medical devices, and blood products, it is actually very difficult to move a lot of funding into one area and ignore the other areas. So those are some of the challenges that we have faced. But apart from those challenges, I think it's actually been a fantastic thing for us because it has helped us to do what we have not usually done much better. So now we have all the documentation, we have all the risk-based approach to do things. So in a way, we are operating more effectively, if I should put it that way. And the challenge will be trying to maintain it because for regulators, there's sometimes the knee-jerk approach or the firefighting, which in this part, if it is a counterfeit that comes in, you have to stop everything you're doing and quickly go and fight that. If it is anything alarming, it's still the same regulatory system, you would still have to stop and go and fight that. So in a nutshell, I think that is what it is. Resources would help to be able to achieve IDP. But it is exciting for us because even though we've been benchmarked several times, this one was very thorough. It helps us to also support our regions because, for example, in Ghana, we have MOUs with 3 other countries. And once our systems are in place, it helps us to better or more effectively support the other countries like Liberia, Sierra Leone, who rely on the work that we do and who rely on on us being efficient enough to help them. So we don't always have to go out to go and get resources from sometimes other agencies that may be a lot more far ahead than we are, and sometimes the systems don't relate to what we do. So generally, in a nutshell, this is what GBT has meant for us, and that is how we have benefited. It has strengthened us in a lot of ways. And once we can address the IDPs effectively, I think it will be totally beneficial. Thank you.